y'all, it's Natalie and it's time for another Cherry on Top monthly design team hop. We are using this mood board today for February hop, and it has these lovely greens and pinks, and I pulled out this Lily Moss collection by Kaiser Craft to use, which has pinks and greens, but I'm mostly focused today on using this Kaleidoscope stamp, which is from Concord and Ninth, and I have never had one of their turnabout stamps before, but it was so much fun, and so I'm going to show you how I use it today. So it comes with this little guide, that little transparency that you see right there. So I'm using it with my stamping press. So I'm setting down and lining up the turnabout stamp with the symbols that are on the transparency. Then I stick it to my block, whatever block you're using, and then I remove the transparency and it stamps the image in the exact spot that you first had it listed for the transparency. So I'm going in at first with the sage color, and I decide, I think I messed it up. I had to start over. So I decide that I do want to work with some heat embossing powders as well, because I want this to be the focus of the page, this really awesome medallion that I'm going to plan to stick up in the middle of the page. So after I stamp the Distress Oxide Bundled Sage, I'm going in with the heat embossing ink, and I'm going to use Sizzix Clear Gloss Heat Embossing Powder over that sage image. And so it will just give it a really nice, almost like acrylic type look, and just make it nice and shiny. I actually just kept the paper on my stamping, what is the word I'm looking for? Platform, because I didn't want to move the paper, because I want to make sure that I'm able to line up the turnabout stamp every time in the same spot. So I am zapping it directly onto the platform, and I think as long as you don't hold the gun too long in one spot, it shouldn't be an issue. It's not going to melt anything besides the powder, which it's supposed to be doing. So next I'm going to put the top back on, and I rotate 90 degrees. So I rotate my transparency 90 degrees, and you can, it says just line up the middle in between that at the very center of that X. I'm not using my words so well today. I was a little bit off as far as lining it up against that tape, so I did draw myself a little line to kind of help me better know how to line it up. But I just rotated the transparency once to the left, right, 190 degree turn, and now I'm lining it up, placing my turnabout stamp again onto the images. And so when you pick it up and stamp it this time, it's going to put all of the little bits in different areas. And so eventually you'll have a full image once you go all the way around 4 times. Hopefully that makes sense to you. You'll see here in a minute, because I did leave all of the stamping in so that you could see. So now I'm going in with the heat embossing ink, and then I'm going in with this darker green color, which is like, I think it's called Festive Fur. That's the name of it. It's called Festive Fur, and it's a really nice hunter green color. So I'm going to zap it as well. So you can see I have half of the kaleidoscope image on now. And hopefully you can see, hopefully I'll hold it up and you can see, but if you can't, it's definitely in the photos, you can see how it gives a really nice shiny image. So once these have cooled off and completely dried, which doesn't take very long, is when I add the transparency on top and then line up my stamp as well. So every time I'm taking off the transparency once I get my stamp lined up in the exact spot that I intend to stamp. Now I decided to go with this sage colored embossing powder. It's a glittery sage color that is inspired by Catherine Pooler. And it has a lot of chunky glitter, which doesn't really stick very much. Mostly just the sage glitter sticks, and I'm fine with that. The chunky images don't work so well with sticking, at least on this type of stamp. If you had more of a really solid image stamp, it probably would stick better. So now I am zapping that one, and so that so far is the first sparkly one. Actually, I think that's the only sparkly one, because next I'm going to go in with a silver color that is more of like a polished silver color, and that's what I'm doing here last. There you can see I am just spreading the powder It's really lovely how, once you have already zapped everything, it only sticks to the area that you just stamped. And so now I have this really lovely image with stamping all mixed in, all different colors, which really would make someone wonder, wow, how'd they do that? It almost looks like a printed image, but extra special with enameled embossing powders on top. And you can see how it was so shiny. So now it's time to build the page. I'm showing you how shiny it is again. And I changed up my pink paper. I pulled out a different pink paper from that Lily and Moss collection, and it's like a pink matte paper because I'm scrapbooking some travel photos of us in the Olympic National Park. And so we were traveling. We had maps. We did have maps because we had no service. It is the middle of nowhere out there, so you definitely need to have a map. So I popped up the paper on some foam so that it kind of made that background stamping image look as though it's like recessed in the back of the page. And now I'm just going through and I'm sticking down my photos onto white cardstock so it has a nice white border on all 3 of the circle photos. And I'm figuring out how I would like to group them, as well as the other ephemera bits that are from the Lily and Moss collection. And this is an older collection by Kaisercraft, but it was a collection that I had in my stash that matched the colors of the mood board. And, I really loved how it went so nicely with the Kaleidoscope stamp by Concord and Ninth. And I will link down below to those products in the store if they are still there. Definitely the Kaleidoscope stamp is, because it is new from Concord and Ninth. I got a few different things from Concord and Ninth because their new release was just so fabulous. You should definitely check it out. I'll also take this chance to let you know that this is a hop. So if you hop around and comment on everybody's video, and there's not that many of us, then you will be entered for a chance to win store credit. I think it's $15 that a cherry on top gives away, which is super generous. So I'm just tucking all of the ephemera bits in amongst the photos and breaking up everything with the different colored bits that match the mood board so lovely. And everybody used the same mood board, so you can see if they use the same colors or if they used other inspiration bits off the board, like I did, which was the foliage. There's a lot of leaves on the mood board, so that also inspired the use of this collection. I'm just finishing it off with a few enamel hearts that also are in pinks and greens, and that's going to call it a day. Make sure to check out the links down below so you can enter for a chance to win store credit. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, because this was my first time using the Turnabout stamp, but it was pretty self-explanatory, so it shouldn't be too hard, and you should definitely grab one. They're super fun. Bye, y'all.